and it's running. There's some horses having a time on the beach. It's quite nice to see. Pulled out the center console to install a bit of a sandbar. You can probably see that now. Pulled out to a bit of a sandbar. We were trying to anchor over here, but we just can't seem to get a purchase on any of our anchors, reef anchor or sand anchor. There's a bit of an island over here. It's a private owned little island, so we're not allowed to go over the high tide mark without their permission. But this little sandbar is pretty good. Obviously it's not high tide at the moment, otherwise this would be underwater. Yeah, just thought I'd give you a quick update. There's a bit of a reef supposed to be through here, but we think it's a rock reef. So there's obviously two kinds of coral reef and a rock reef, and this appears to be the rocky kind. Let's have a look around the island. We'll just have some coffee and some morning tea over here. Yep. Just a quick update, guys. We're finding this area quite interesting to watch with the waves. So we'll look over here. The waves are coming flat onto the beach, right? And it's coming in quite flat onto the beach. We'll go round the corner a little bit. The waves start coming in on diagonal. They're still coming in on diagonal. Here they're coming straight onto the beach. So we're facing roughly south this way. And they're coming over the rock wall. They're going over the rock, kind of look like they're going over the rock wall where that boat is. They're crashing on the beach over there. They're crashing on this side, on the beach down that end, in this direction. Every direction, the waves are crashing onto the beach. We're used to boating down in Moreton Bay, where the wind's coming this way, you expect waves on this side. This side, in Moreton Bay, would be a mill pond. There'd be no waves, you'd not be able to see anything. It's quite interesting to experience. And there's a little bit of a bay in here, which seems to be the calmest part around this little island, but it's surrounded by the island, the outcrop, this bit of a sandbar around here, and this little sandbar down there. But there'll still be waves in there for some reason. Yeah, just thought, wow, this is an interesting experience for us to note. I just can't remember which species of crayfish that would be. Yeah, that's a dead crayfish, but maybe a red crayfish. It doesn't look like it might be.
That's his antenna.
Yeah.
Wow. Stick out to make you making shadow rock. That's it.
That's pretty impressive. We found some shells. That's pretty cool. I went and got my mobile and I found the species of lobster or crayfish that, according to what I can find on the Queensland Fisheries app, so it looks like it was an ornate rock lobster. Size limit, minimum size 11.5 centimetres tail, 9 centimetre carapace, which is pretty cool. So he looked like he was the right size, which is good. Good on the guys for catching him. He was a great find. Yeah, we've got some stuff to look at. Oh, if you've seen us doing the flat palm on the head, that's a come to me signal. Oh wow, lots of bubbling in the sand. Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty awesome. No, I've never seen a beach bubble. What it, yeah.
It might be a coral reef, but it's still beautiful, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I'm getting photographs of them like beautiful collection.
Going back.
That sandbar's disappearing pretty quickly now.
Yeah. When I told you down, look at the bubbles.
Yeah. bubbles were out of the
30
water.
seconds before that, that whole sandbar wasn't going under.
Yeah.
That whole section wasn't going under 30 seconds before the bubbles.
Sandbars are pretty good to pull up to and have a nice picnic, take all your stuff with you, and then as the tide comes over, it clears it away, which is great. Clears all your tracks, it's like you're never there.
What?
Clears all the tracks and it was like you were never there.
Yeah.
Just a quick note that we've noticed, guys. We had so much trouble trying to anchor in this little bay that we're in. We pulled up on this sandbar that's now disappearing and manually put the anchor into the sandbar. While we were having lunch and a bit of a walk around the sandbar, we had some locals pull up, and we noticed they didn't seem to put a anchor out. They just pulled up on the windward side of the island and let their boat be blown onto the island. So interesting to note around this area. To note that they don't seem to use their anchors. They seem to rather use a trolling motor or an electronic fishing motor, that runs off a separate battery off the front of the bow. So that's interesting to kind of note. Yeah, now we figured out how they do it. We don't have a trolling motor. We've got our main outboard and our auxiliary outboard. And then we've also got a reef anchor, which is just down in the boat here, and we've got a sand anchor up front. The reef anchor is portable. It's just tied onto this back loop back here. So we use the reef anchor off the front or the back. It depends on where we are. A lot of the islands where we're up with Sundays on, we drop the sand anchor off the front, back into the beach, and find a rock to put the reef anchor over, which works pretty well for us, doing a Caribbean mooring with two different kinds of anchors. Also, to give you a kind of idea of the range that we've got in our little vessel here. So we've got a Johnson 40 horsepower from what I think is a 1989 model. Sorry, over here. We've got a Mariner. I'm not sure what year model that is, but that's been around in the family for about 20 years. We've got dual fuel tanks. Pardon? 1986 Mariner. Well, there we go. They're almost the same year model, aren't they? So we've got two 25-litre tanks at the back here, both with an input line. And if I move my dive back here, so we've got, out of our 25-litre tanks, on this tank the other day when we went to South Mole Islands to do one of our trips, we got 20 nautical miles out of a tank. So we've got 50 litres already set in the tanks, so we've got 40 nautical mile range in a day. That's a long way when you don't go too fast. Max this really does with the three of us, and it's about 25 nautical miles, so that's a long way out. And then we've got our auxiliary tank down here. We picked that up while we were up at Airlie Beach to make sure that we had a backup. So that's about a 15-litre backup for us to get back anywhere. But general rule of thumb for us, if we go through that tank, we're kind of like, that's as far out as we're going. We might putter around that area, but other than once we go through that a little bit, we're pretty much just going to head straight back. So that gives you a pretty good idea. And 20 nautical miles in a straight line is a fair way out in a little boat. So the total length of this boat's 15 feet, or about 4.5 metres. Only rough on my conversion there. So it's not exactly a big boat. We've recently added our shade to our top, which is pretty good. And we've got our box sitting on here for the captain, behind the centre console here. It's also great when we're doing our water sports. We can sit here and we can observe out through the back. And also this is where we keep our life. So if we look under here, we've got 150 level rated, or just at external waters only just rated life jackets, and then we've got two 50 rated life jackets for doing our water sports behind the boat. If we want to do any water sports, we don't have any water sports equipment with us here at the moment, but we do have 7 life jackets on board. We are rated to only 5 people. We do only carry 5 people in the boat. Obviously we don't carry 5 in the boat when we're doing our water sports. But yeah, it's been a fantastic boat for us. We've obviously got our seat up the front of the vessel, in front of the console there, and then we've got a couple of oars, auxiliary, and obviously we've got our auxiliary engine out here. It's a pretty great little boat to explore around. We haven't got gotten around to putting the ep7 on here yet. There'll be a few more modifications happening to this over time. We're going to put a marine radio inside the boat at some point. However, at the moment, most of the places we go, we have reception. So if we ever get into any trouble, we've got at least two mobile phones on board. We can always give the Coast Guard or the VMR a call. They're a fantastic service if you ever need any help, guys. We're actually a member of the VMR, or I should say Jamie is. It's worthwhile. It's only about $60 a year down to where we're signed up with Victoria Point there. VMR and the Coast Guard, both fantastic services, and most of the time they're great people as well. They're always out there trying to help, and they're a fantastic service for helping out. Yeah, and obviously we carry our flares and our V-sheet on board if we ever need them, which hopefully we don't. Oh yeah, just spotted a submerged hazard over here, so we'll go around these guys while they're fishing. But yeah, so we have just about every safety feature we can on a little boat. Obviously this has got full rego, so we can use it independently of the Mustang that you get to see in some of our videos. That's our large white sports cruiser with I think it's got a blue canopy on it at the moment. So that's obviously still down in Moreton Bay at the moment, otherwise we'd be using it up here. She's recently been repowered, and the rest of the crew down there are having fun on that. I don't know whether they're using that this weekend, but last weekend they was their first run on it. They said it went really well. Ran it all the way up to Horseshoe Bay on Peel Island in Moreton Bay. They also ran up to Lazarus Scudder, which is just the other side, and they had a fantastic weekend. They said the boat runs great now. We've recently had it repowered, that Mustang repowered, because one of the engines seized. We used to have three or fives in it, I think, and one of them seized, and it was quite hard to get a 305, so we've transferred over to dual 350s now. And that's a Marinized Chevrolet engine. But yeah, so we've got a little bit of a flotilla, and they could be both being used at the same time of me filming, a couple of 100 k's apart, but that's okay. Cool. Super careful around here, eh? Crocs and blind people in the water.
What was that?
Gotta be super careful around here, eh? Crocs and blind people in the water.
Yeah.
Hello. Restricted ramp. There's a crocodile sign around here somewhere. There it is. Obviously, you just got to be careful when you're in the central and upper regions of Queensland, because we have crocodiles. They don't particularly like murky water. However, they do live in fresh You can find them out on the Great Barrier Reef and all sorts of areas. Yeah, pretty much anywhere there's water, you can find a crocodile or a shark. You just got to be aware of your surroundings to be kind of safe from them.